Hey guys, I bailed out on this song yesterday. I had trouble getting the video to work, so I'm going to give it another shot today. Hopefully it'll work out a little bit better. I'm going to do Dashing Through the Snow. We already did Jingle Bells in an earlier lesson. Somewhere between lesson 3 and 6, we are using it first to identify the E, F, and G notes, and then the C and D on the second string. Having memorized that or learned it really well, having identified where the E, F, and G were based upon our guitar picture, we then actually used that to learn in reverse a little bit of our note reading on the staff. I've done that a little bit further here with Silent Night, where I wrote it out with letter names but put them on the staff so you could see their relative heights, just like they were real notes, but I used the letters. I'm going to do that again today with Dashing Through the Snow. This is considered part of Jingle Bells in many books. It's like the introduction or a verse to Jingle Bells, with Jingle Bells being the chorus. As I like to do, I'm going to use this familiar song to learn a bit of a concept that is ahead of the game, really, but we can gain familiarity with it because of a familiar song. In Silent Night, we learned a couple of things. We learned what this ledger line was for and how to get down to a C note. We haven't learned to read the notes yet on the A string, although we've learned the notes on that string. And the same thing is going to happen today. We're going to learn a ledger line above the staff. So far on the low E string, we've learned E, F, and G and A from Smoke on the Water. A and D as well. We're in Wild Thing. We've learned all of the notes in the natural scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We've learned all of this open position then. We talked about how those notes are all from the key of C. So if we want to hear the Do, Re, Mi portion of this scale, we'd isolate from C to C in one octave. That C then, which we have found on the A string, is the low C on the ledger line. It looks like middle C, but it actually sounds an octave lower than middle C because the guitar is tuned down. But there's the C that we saw on the ledger line in Silent Night. Another thing we learned while we were looking at our notes in Silent Night is this mirror image thing that happens. There's a G on the second line from the bottom and a D on the second line from the top. If I were to flip the staff over, the G would become a D and the D would become a G. That's useful to know because when we learned G was above the staff, we can see its mirror image, the D below the staff then. So we can use Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge to find out that G is above that, D is below that. But we can also, if we remember G, we can remember the D is the opposite. Also surrounding the B note are the A and the C. Notice the A is right below the B in the second space, stem going up. C is right above the B, stem going down. If we have a C on the bottom ledger line, then we would have an A on the upper ledger line. So there's our A note written up above the staff on the first ledger line. As we want to get higher and higher, we'd put a note, the B, above that ledger line, draw a second ledger line to get above that. We can also see that A is the note that follows G here, putting it in the 5th fret. We could also know that because we knew there was an A on this string in Smoke on the Water, so there must be an A on the other E string. It's just 2 octaves higher. So that A is going to be your 5th fret note. This song will span the key of C again, starting on this G note. We talked about this once before, how a song can have the root note in the middle of the sung portion. So C is on the 2nd string, 1st fret. The song starts down on the 3rd string G. G, A, B, C would give us our root. Up to the other G. You can hear, because that's in the natural note scale with no sharps or flats, it's focusing around the C. The highlight note there is the A. So that's going to show up in Dashing Through the Snow. I'm going to write that song out now in letter names on the staff. So I'll just walk you through this really quickly here. It won't take a great deal of work. All we're adding on is that high A note, but we can see a few things again. Our treble clef has the circle fixing the G note on this second line. We're in 4/4 time again, counting to 4 in every bar. A bar or a measure is this measured off distance between two bar lines. We're starting on the low G, G, E, D, C, back down to the G, dashing through the snow. That holds for 3 beats. These are eighth notes at the end of the bar in 1. They're faster. That A by itself gets the entire bar, so that's a whole note. Same thing with that B note. High G. That E note is 4 beats. Sometimes students will see that I've written a G and a G. They'll play the wrong one. They'll play the high when we want the low, or they'll ask me about it. It seems super intuitive to me, but I can't take everything for granted like that. The third string G sounds low, so it should be the one written lower. The third fret on the first string G sounds high, so it should be written higher. So we're back on this G now. It's like the beginning, it's another portion of the verse. Bells on bobtails ring. Making spirits bright. That A shares the bar. The last A on that line is beat 4 and it comes into this A. High G. Then the A up on the ledger line, it's higher than G, 2 frets above it. I've marked it with a 5. Because I haven't written a really good note with that ledger line through it, you could mistake the line as part of the A. I've tried to make it bigger to show there's a ledger line and the A note. 2 beats on this C, 2 beats on this G, and then I've just hastily written out the melody notes for Jingle Bells again if you want it there. I'm repeating Jingle Bells. Fs. High G. To be clear, I should have had a repeat sign here. So when I got to that repeat after ending 1, I'd come back here. I've marked that off with these repeat signs bracketing. They're pointing back to one another. Ending 1 the first time, ending 2 the second time. When you get down there again, you could start back up on another verse. There's about 3 different sets of lyrics for this. I'll put the chords in above it in red because you now know all the chords as well. So here are the chords written in red. We have 4 bars, C, 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 F. The next 4 bars, F, G7, G7, C. I've put a little red bar line here to let us know those 8 bars are done and we're starting another section. The first 4 here are just like these 4, C, 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 and F. The last line is a bit of a turnaround. We change the chords up a bit. F, C, G7, and in the last bar there, 2 beats of C, 2 of G7. That G7 allows us to get on to this C again, or the C in Jingle Bells. Here in red, I doubt you can see these. I'll put the music up on your screen though. So we got 4 bars of C on line 1, then I've put these underneath, I didn't leave room before. F, C, D7, and G7, you know all of these. The D7 doesn't belong in this key necessarily, but we have seen it jammed into the key of C before in Aurelie and Au Clair de la Lune. We do our repeat, 4 bars of C, this F and C, and then we end with a G7 and C. And we go back up to the top. So you've got C chords on the diagonal line. You can do the telescoped version of G7 back into C. Compress that again into F. Lay that pointer down if you're getting good at that. Or just play the 3 strings. Or get away with 4 strings and an F major 7 sound. You could go from C to the F that has the pinky in it instead. Whichever you favor. So let's try this out in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. F chord. Here it sounds like a repeat. F at the end of the line. C, G, G7, Jingle Bells. D7, G or G7, repeat Jingle Bells. Second line, ending 2, 2, 3, 4, dashing through the snow. Once again, that's called a retardando when you slow down the ending. Thanks again. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.